What's up, folks? Welcome back in. This is JE Live, and we went live last night, talked about Baker Mayfield and how much I love the idea of going out and getting him. Well, the Rams have done that. They have claimed Baker Mayfield, former first overall quarterback out of Oklahoma, played for the Cleveland Browns, broke the rookie touchdown passing record in his first season. And he led the Browns to the playoffs. He's won a lot of games. He has some stuff on his resume. Obviously, there are some people that are not as fond of him. And I'll be honest with you, I'm one of the people that, has been very critical of his career. I do feel like he held certain players back, like Odell Beckham Jr. back when he was, in Cleveland. But I will say this, I like this move. I think this is really, when you talk about, a free trial, this is as much of a free trial as it gets. Is only going to cost $1.3 million against your cap for this year. Is a free agent after the season. They believe in his talent. They have issues at quarterback. You have John Wolford with the neck injury of Bryce Perkins, obviously with, Stafford. So I like this move. I really feel like it's the right decision. Take advantage of the fact, they're never up this high in the waiver order. So you take advantage of the fact that you can go out and you can claim a guy like Baker Mayfield, see what you can do as far as developing him and building him up. But if anybody's going to figure him out, if anybody's going to fix him, it is Sean McVay. And I do think that this could have some future ramifications moving forward. First off, we talk about it. Baker, he only is with the Rams for the next 5 games, right? So, you have to look at that aspect. They're 3-9. They're not going to the playoffs. And I understand there are a lot of people that want to see Perkins start, but when push came to shove, they started Wolford. Perkins is 25. A common misconception is that Baker Mayfield is this old, quarterback. He's not old. He's been in the league and he's made an impact, and now he's on his 3rd team, but he's not old. If you didn't know, Baker Mayfield is the oldest quarterback on the Rams now, but he's 27 years old and won't be 28 until April. If you actually didn't know, Case Cookus is 27 years old and he's older by 12 days than John Wolford. John Wolford is also 27, and Bryce Perkins will be 26 in, actually this month. So the way I see it is you're getting a guy who was once a first overall pick. You're getting a guy who has some talent. Obviously he has not been great lately. 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Didn't really do all that well, in Carolina. But Ben McAdoo was calling plays. Ben McAdoo was his offensive coordinator. Ben freaking McAdoo. Okay. I'm not going to put too much on him there. You look at the Browns. That didn't go well. Obviously, he had some good things, some bad things. Now he comes to the Rams here, and, he has a chance. Is he going to start right away? Absolutely not. It might take him a week or 2 or 3, but if he's able to start 1 game this year, and even if he's not, this is the right move. How would it not be? How does it hurt you if you pay a guy $1.3 million, right? If you claim his $1.3 million left on his deal, how is that bad? Here's what could come out of this, right? What could come out of this is that we end up with a scenario where the Rams are looking at a compensatory pick for Baker Mayfield. And since he's a quarterback, that could be higher than some of the compensatory picks they're scheduled to get, and it could help them out. So that's if they lose him. But who's to say they lose him? Who's to say they don't just sign him after this trial run and they make him the backup? So I don't know, man. I really feel like this is the right move. It's why I came out and made a video / live stream yesterday. I felt like this was a no-brainer, and I started hearing that, he wanted to go there. The Rams were going to claim him. It just felt like a no-brainer. So, the Texans weren't going to, the Broncos didn't, and there was another team ahead of them that didn't as well. Oh, the Bears. So once I heard that they weren't going to claim him, I pretty much connected the dots, and I think I tweeted it out. I said I'm 100% certain Baker Mayfield is going to be a Ram. So I like this. I like it. There's not a lot of hope this year. The whole season's pretty much done, like we talked about, but I like this because I like Perkins, right? And I like Wolford to an extent, but Wolford proved to you that he is a backup quarterback and he's not one of the higher end backups in the league. He can make all the throws in between the short and intermediate game, but he doesn't have a deep ball. Now you have Baker Mayfield, who does have a deep ball. Does he have accuracy issues? Absolutely. But maybe there's some fine tuning in his mechanics. Sean McVay can work with him and they can figure this out. So, I think it is the right approach here. I think it makes a lot of sense. And, I'm glad about it. I'm going to look at all the comments now. Let's see here. I mean, let's be honest here. We're right around the same time last year where, we were going live react to Von Miller and OBJ getting signed. And now we're live reacting to not Bryce, but Baker Mayfield. I understand it's a little bit of a downer, but I'm not going to be a downer on this channel. I'm going to be a realist on this channel. And that's that. So, not a Baker fan at all, but I like this move. Don't know why they don't trust Perk. I'm in agreement with you there. But it'll be interesting to see the least in the offseason. I really hope they make a move for Brissett. Wouldn't mind Brissett, but I also wouldn't mind if Baker works out and this trial works out, they'll bring him back, I think, and he'll be the backup. I mean, he's going to want to stay here. If he finds that this is like a good opportunity for him and he likes the coaching staff, likes working with McVay, and he finds a home, he's going to want to stay here. There's opportunity here. Stafford is not guaranteed to play out his contract. They would give Baker the first shot to go after that starting job. So maybe they can turn him around. Who knows? I literally got off Twitter 5 minutes ago. Yeah. Let's go. Jake called it. I did. I did not see this. You did now. Baker equals Stafford light. I won't go there, but Baker does have those kind of tendencies where, he can get out of the pocket, can be a little bit mobile. He's got really good pocket mobility. Like he doesn't have to run. I mean, he can run, but he doesn't have to run. He's got good pocket mobility and he can make subtle adjustments in the pocket and, really do a nice job of, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of manipulating the pocket, manipulating the defense. So he's not fantastic right now, but he's got tools and he's had a winning season before. He led his team to the playoffs and he has had success in this league. And at 27 years old, that's all you can really ask for if you're claiming a guy at this point in the season. No. First round pick is out the window. That's going to be the Lions. We'll see. Well, no. Actually, we definitely know that it wasn't theirs because Super Bowl 55 was before 56, which they just won. This year it's 57. So you'd be saying Super Bowl 58, I would assume, or Super Bowl 59. That's more likely. I think it's a good move too. Baker. What do we make of this? Kind of like I was saying along those lines, I think it was the right move. I think it made a lot of sense. And, it's kind of a big name. So the Rams get back out in the public eye. They do something big. They haven't really done anything big the whole year. And I'm not saying this is huge, but potentially, you're talking about a new starting quarterback down the road this season. I'm sure they'll give him a shot. Yeah, but he can also throw the deep ball too. So now you have a chance. If you can get him going, then now you get a chance to use Atwell further. You get to use Van Jefferson further. I think that is something that we definitely have to talk about because that's a big issue that I have is that Wolford can't hit the deep ball. Like Tutu had 3, different plays where he went over the top and, he wasn't able to be hit. Let's see. But let's be honest, he will definitely have a better scheme. He will. I mean, like I said, going from Ben McAdoo to Sean McVay calling the plays, that's a pretty big deal. Jake also, if he does leave in free agency, we get a comp. Yes. Compensatory pick. You're right. That's I was saying that earlier. You called it. I swear it seems like the Rams organization watched your channel. Maybe they do. I know that they used to look at my articles. I know from people that work with them, they told me they used to look at my articles. They've seen some of my videos. I know that. I don't know if they watch my whole channel, but, I mean, he's not great. I wouldn't, It's tough in the NFL because, I don't think Baker Mayfield is a star, and I've been very critical of him. So let me be very clear when I say that. I try to be a little unbiased here because I was very critical of him. But when he became available, opportunity was knocking. I felt like it was really a no-brainer. This is a guy who still, he's 30 and 35 all time, 61.2 career completion percentage. He's thrown for 15,000 yards, 7.2 yards per attempt, which isn't bad. 98 touchdowns, 62 interceptions. When I look at, Mayfield over the course of his career, this is by far his worst year, by far. You look at his first year, 27 touchdowns his rookie year, which is the rookie touchdown record that, he broke. 3,700 yards, 63.8 completion percentage, only 14 interceptions, and a 7.7 yards per attempt average. Had 93.7 passer rating the next year, deals with some injuries. He plays through them, but the team just isn't great. So the first year, they're 6-7. He starts 13 games. They kind of show you something. The second year, they're 6-10. Okay. Baker starts to struggle a little bit, 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions. He, has more yards, not as great of completion percentage, and his passer rating falls to 78.8. But what does he do, though? He responds in 2020 at age 25 years old. He sends the Browns to the playoffs at 11-5. He has a 62.8 completion percentage. This guy doesn't dominate in completion percentage, but 3,500 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and he had a 95.9 passer rating, which was a career high. Baker Mayfield in 2021, also dealing with that shoulder. He goes 6-8. He throws 60.5 completion percentage, 3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. He's never thrown more interceptions than touchdowns, which is obviously a need. And he had 83.1 passer rating in 2021. His rushing stats, he averages 3.6 yards per carry. He's not a great rusher. It's more so he runs when he has to. He's had 58 first downs converted. He has 6 touchdowns. He had 3 of them in 2019. Is he an all-world player? No. Okay, but he's got talent. He's got a skill set, and he should be the Rams' backup next year if this works out. So I like this move. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And actually, looking at that, I'm going to try and find the playoff. Let's see, postseason. So Baker Mayfield in the postseason, he has the game against the Steelers in which he went 21-34 for 263 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 115.2 passer rating. And then he had a game against Kansas City in the following week. They lost 22-17. Kansas City would go on to go to the Super Bowl. But he lost to Kansas City 23-2. He was 23-37. They lose 22-17. He throws 204 yards, a touchdown, and interception, and finishes with a 74.6 passer rating. So in both of those playoff games, Baker was great in one of them. In another one, he was kind of up and down. But he has shown you something. At the very least, he's shown you that, he has had some moments in this league. He's had some decent seasons. I think the impressive factor when you look at him is the 2018 season. That was a fun rookie year for him, but I felt like the 2019 year, that easily could have derailed him. It didn't, though, because the way he came back in 2020 and went 11-5 and 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, cut down the turnovers, was a sign that he can get better, was a sign that he's not going to, completely falter. And this guy, again, he's the oldest quarterback on the Rams right now, but he's only 27 years old. I feel like people think he's 30. They kind of give up on him. They think he's old. He's got plenty of ball left. The question is, what can the Rams get out of him? And obviously, another question is, what number is he going to wear? Because I know people are going to be asking that. What number is Baker Mayfield going to wear since number 6 is taken by Darion Kendrick? You guys spitball in the comments because I honestly couldn't tell you. I'll look because I can't even think of who has what number, right? Right now, I would probably say 1 is taken by Allen Robinson. Number 4, is that taken by anybody? Number 4 is taken by Jordan Fuller. 5 is Ramsey. 6, Kendrick. 7 is Waterfield, retired. 8 is Matt Gay. Number 9 is Stafford. 10 is Cup, right? 11 is Riley Dixon. 12 is Van Jefferson. 13 is Wolford. 14 is Kobe Durant. 15 is Tutu Atwell. 16 is Bryce Perkins. 17. Okay. Nope. 17 is taken by Case Cookus. So 17 is probably it. There's no other quarterback numbers because of this ridiculous number brigade with all these positions. So Baker Mayfield is either going to wear 17 and they're going to cut Case Cookus, or I don't know what he's going to wear, because that's really bizarre. They're in a little bit of a rut there as far as the numbers are concerned. This is why it's so crazy. Darius, thank you so much for donating. What's up, Jake and Ramley? I'm actually more excited for this Baker claim than I thought I would be. I'm ready to see if McVay can scheme him up like he did with Goff. I am too. And it's worth mentioning that Sean McVay spoke with him, after the combine. He talked about his swagger. He talked about his demeanor. So clearly, he thinks highly of him. And I think we saw that. I think there's clearly like a mutual interest here. Makes a lot of sense. I'm all for it. I'm happy for it. So that's great, right? It's, great to see that. I like that they went this direction. Matthew, thank you so much for donating. Hey, Jake, imagine this. Maybe in a worldwide of sports, he ain't as bad as we think. He had some good games. Maybe that chip on his shoulder. Yeah. I mean, let's look at this league right now. You got Taylor Heineke balling out in Washington, keeping that team in it, right? You've had guys in the past. You've had your Kurt Warners. You've had your Chad Penningtons. You've had your Tony Romos. I'm not saying that this guy is an undrafted free agent like Warner or Romo. I'm not saying he's Heineke. This guy is a first overall pick. But with Sean McVay, maybe this ends up being a big deal. Maybe Stafford comes back next year, struggles to stay healthy because he's got the spinal cord injury. He's had all sorts of injuries. Maybe that catches up to him. Then Baker has to be your guy. I think Baker can be a backup in this league. I think he could potentially start again. I'm not out on him entirely. And I liked that he went to Carolina. Now, what I didn't like is Carolina had no plan for anybody. And they hired Ben McAdoo to be the offensive coordinator, so it literally went exactly how you would have expected, right? Literally exactly how you would have expected. But I'm all for this. All for it. I think it's the right move. And, wouldn't be surprised if he shocks people. We get Mayfield, and it's right to Jake on YouTube. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate the coverage, especially after a long day of work. Happy for you. Anybody that wanted him, and I'm happy to do this. Was on top of it all day, and I had already set up the live stream. I made the graphic and everything, so I was ready to go once they announced it. And that's what it's all about, right? You don't want to get the news after the fact. The way I see it is, doing content creation since 2016. If you're on the news, great. You go live, you're on the news, right? You want to be on it when it happens. But if you miss it, then you can't say breaking news for, 4 hours later. At that point, you have to have a take. This is a rapid reaction. But if I had missed this, then I would be going back to the drawing board and coming up with a live stream or a video, basically bullet pointing every reason why I think this is good or why I think this is bad. And I think that's just how we have to be as content creators. We have to be versatile. If you miss, because again, you're going to miss like big news. I missed Logan Bruss. I was at a movie and I find out Logan Bruss tears his ACL. So what do? I don't go live and say Logan Bruss tore his ACL 8 hours later. I go live and say like, hey, I missed it. These are my thoughts. And that's how it is. But luckily I've been able to be a little bit more on top of these, these guys. Undisputed, we'll be talking about the Rams daily now. Skip Bayless becomes a Rams fan today. Oh, God. He's excited, no doubt. Feel like I don't care about this room either way, but hope the young guys get continued development. I think the big thing about Baker that I like is not necessarily even about him. I think he's the best quarterback on the roster immediately, and I think now he gives you a better chance to evaluate and develop further the wide receiver room. And I think that's a big thing, because you talk about a Tutu Atwell that's starting to emerge and look like a Marquise Brown. And you talk about guys like maybe Lance McCutcheon if he comes back, or Ben Skoranek. I want to see these guys get continued development. I don't want to see this go to waste. You're not going to get an opportunity, hopefully, like this again. We can talk about it all we want. This is an opportunity right now. You're just not going to get them. You're not going to get a chance to play 5-6 preseason games. That's pretty much what they're doing right now because the season's over. So this is the time to find out what you have. And I think Baker Mayfield gives you the best chance. Once he learns the playbook, he gives you the best chance to get guys like Tutu Atwell, the most opportunity. Baker still threw a 75-yard touchdown this year. I will be shocked the day that happens with John Wolford. I like Wolford and I like Perkins, but it was very telling when Perkins did not play this Sunday. Very telling. Perkins is 25, will be 26 on the 20th, and John Wolford is 27. Both will be free agents, although Bryce Perkins will likely be back because he's an exclusive rights free agent. But there's no reason to suspect that, this is a one-year thing for Mayfield. I mean, there's no reason to think that, hey, they can't just keep him and, make him a backup like Case Keenum or a Mitch Trubisky. And honestly, that's what you should be thinking about. Imagine that, right? Mitch Trubisky, if he ends up becoming a Mitch Trubisky and he goes off and becomes a starter somewhere and he gets paid at that level, you're going to take on some, a decent draft pick, right? So it's not just as simple as, oh, okay, he's a free agent, we move on. You're still going to get a comp pick for him. No, they could hold on to him, build him up, and then if they want to go in a different direction, maybe another team is desperate enough to be like, hey, we saw what he did with McVay and we believe we have something here. Let's bring him in. And they pay him like, Trubisky, like with the Steelers. And then they sign a guy. That's a very real possibility. So this is how the NFL kind of recycles and these guys get opportunities. I really do like this move, though, for the Rams. Let's see. Someone has to finish out the season at quarterback, right? Absolutely. Finally have a legit backup quarterback. We're going back, no doubt now. Also, my OBJ hope was already gone. Now it's dead. Yeah, OBJ might not play the entire year, so I don't think they made the wrong decision on that front. It's as sad as it is, I don't think they made the wrong decision. If OBJ doesn't play the entire year, then, that's that. Glad we beat the Niners to Baker. I'm sure other teams claim Baker Mayfield or they put in claims for him. So I don't think the Niners were ever getting him. That's why it was kind of funny seeing all over YouTube, like people were, and I get it. I'm a content creator. I totally respect the grind and everything. But there were 49er content creators that I'm subscribed to that were putting their stuff out there about why they should go after Baker Mayfield. I'm like, bro, he's not falling to 26 in the waiver order. It's not happening. He's going to go probably top 10. And I started thinking about it, and when I was like, wait a minute, the Rams are going to claim him, duh. I mean, that's just how it's going to be, as long as the Texans don't, because the Texans claim everybody, but they didn't this week, so the Rams ended up getting him. That's hilarious. Let's see. An OBJ coming back to the Rams last year, as bad as we've been, we're not far off. Let's see. 20 touchdowns in the last 4 games, calling it now. Let's go Rams. We had an injury season. We will bounce back next year. OBJ isn't ready. No, he's not. He's not. Doesn't even look like he might not even play this year. So there were reports that were saying he might play as early as November. He's football ready. And now Dallas they're not even sure necessarily if they're going to sign him until the 2023 season. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff here. A lot of stuff going on here. You think he would stay to backup Stafford next year? Absolutely. I mean, think about this. If you're Baker Mayfield, you're looking at Matthew Stafford's 34, 35 years old. He's dealing with neck issues. He's had a concussion. He's had back issues. He's had arm issues. He has arthritis, like all sorts of stuff, right? Like Stafford, a report came out last year. Stafford was like 70% healthy halfway through the year. We know what Stafford plays with. We know how tough he is. But eventually, if you're a backup, you're trying to find scenarios where you can potentially start. It's not to say that Baker wants Stafford to be hurt, but if Baker, bought into this team, finds a fit here, he absolutely will sign, because this is the best opportunity you're going to get to potentially quarterback a good team with a good front office and a good coach. And I just think I think coaches are going to be chomping at the bit to come in here next year and turn this thing around, because I don't think that much needs to change. I think they had an unprecedented amount of injuries, and it really hurt them. But with Baker, this guy's already shown you he can win football games, And I feel like with Baker now, Sean McVay to back up Stafford could have 1 year to go. And if Stafford wins the Super Bowl next year, I think Stafford would retire, because I think he just, at this point, I'm kind of the belief right now that Stafford will retire. He will not play out that full year, the full, contract. And the only thing that's stopping him from retiring, even though I don't think he wants to, I think there's pressure around him to retire. But I think Stafford will retire if they win another Super Bowl, because I think the entire point of coming back, same thing with Donald, same thing with McVay if he's trying to leave, is that you do not want to end it like this. You can't have it like this. You can't end it like this. This would hurt Sean McVay's legacy. Aaron Donald doesn't want to end the season in a 3-win year. Stafford doesn't want to end the season on the IR. So I think it's one of those things where, Stafford wins the Super Bowl next year. They run it back a year later, then I think that there are some guys that would leave. And I think right then and there, it opens up the door for a guy like Baker Mayfield, who's got obviously the skills. He's got the talent because he was drafted number 1 overall. So he's got the talent to be in this league. And I think it opens up the door for him. And I think this is a perfect move for Baker. It's why, I was hearing, this is where he wanted to go. Because where else is he going to go? You have to decide. Obviously he didn't have to decide because he was claimed. But if you're Baker Mayfield, do you want to go to a place you have a chance to play? Or do you want to go to a place before your contract where you can just ride the wave and win a championship without even... that's the thing. If the Eagles claim Baker Mayfield and won the Super Bowl, Baker Mayfield's not playing over Hurts. And I don't even know if he's playing over Gardner Minshew, if that were to happen. But he just wins the ring, right? So it's really one of those two things. And let's be honest here, it could not work out. There's a chance it doesn't work out. The Rams cut bait, and Baker Mayfield's a free agent again, he's on the waivers again. There's definitely a chance something like that could happen. I don't see it happening. I think there's a real potential here for him to become the backup quarterback next year in LA and set up for a potential starting opportunity after Matthew Stafford, which I think is coming sooner than later. Maybe I don't think he's retiring anymore, but I do think, just because he doesn't want to go out like this, but I do think his retirement's coming sooner than later. Let's see here. A-Dog, appreciate you donating. What do you think? Stafford going to be ready for week 1? If not, that's probably why we signed Mayfield. Mayfield is mobile. He can take off and run. Well, Mayfield's going to be a free agent, so really, they could just get him next year. I think this is a trial run to see if he's backup material next year. And in addition to that, if they lose him, they could still get a compensatory pick. And with him being a quarterback, you have to pay him more than some of the other positions. So he could be your top compensatory pick, depending on if a team wants to go out and pay him a premium. Fernando Cabrera, thank you so much for donating. Could OBJ come back next year? Say he helps out a team for a quick playoff run. He absolutely could. I wouldn't rule it out. But right now, I don't feel like that's going to happen. I feel like OBJ is going to sign a deal with the Cowboys that allows him to play in the playoffs if he's ready, but also extends through 2023. That's how I feel right now. That's the hunch I have. Could change. It has completely changed. I thought he was 100% coming back to the Rams, but that was obviously dependent on them actually winning football games, which hasn't happened since the bye. So, But let's see here. Just trying to cover all the bases here. Got a lot of different people commenting and everything. If you told me before the season that by week 13 we were 3-9 and Baker Mayfield was starting next week, I'd call you effing nut job. Yeah, sounds about right. Want OBJ to come back, man. Yeah, me too. I'm excited, to be honest. I am too. It is exciting. It's a new flavor. It gives something to be excited about. You see the young kids. You see, Baker Mayfield. It's a new guy in the organization right now. I think it makes a lot of sense, and it helps the channel out too. I mean, let's not act like this isn't a big deal. There's 525 freaking people in this live stream, guys. I haven't had those numbers since the Super Bowl. Maybe not. I think I've had those numbers before, but recently. But that's a lot. Now it's 548. Be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already for more content like this. But yeah, I mean, this is great for the channel because, it gets people somewhat excited. People are talking about this. This is going to be talked about all week by the Rams fans. It's going to be talked about by the ESPN and Fox Sports 1 and all of that. I mean, people see the long-term implications of this. Worst comes to worst, he's gone after the year, and that's it. They get a pick for him. But what could come out of this is, and we've seen it, unlikely heroes, guys that step up when you least expect it. Maybe Baker ends up being the Rams quarterback of the future. We have no idea. We don't know if Stafford's going to be around that much longer. We just don't know. Michael, how's it going, my man? Just talked to you, I think, 5 hours ago or whatever. I think I messaged you back. Great move, quality backup for Stafford next year, and an insurance policy if Stafford retires. Beats the hell out of the UDFA backups. Yeah, I just think, comparing, when people are like, oh, well, how can you do this when you have Wolford and Perkins? I like Perkins and I like Wolford. I prefer Perkins more than Wolford, but like I said, there was something very telling that Bryce Perkins did not start against the Seattle Seahawks and Wolford did. Okay? He's 25, will be 26. If the Rams didn't trust him to start that game and trusted Wolford more, how much longer does the Perkins thing continue? Hopefully it goes on. I like the guy, and obviously he's a friend of the show. But there's a legit argument there. How long does he have with the Rams? How long is this going to last? To be honest with you, I don't know. So Baker's only 27, will be 28 in April. It's not like he's super old. He could absolutely figure it out. And like I said, it's the unlikely heroes in this league. That's been the case with the NFL. Remember Nick Foles? Guys like Chad Pennington I've already brought up, but seriously. Unlikely heroes that come to mind: Pennington, Foles. Talked about Kurt Warner already. Even Mark Bulger. Bulger was a late round pick by the Ravens, and the Rams got him, and then he ended up being a starter. I don't know. I just think that you can never discount when you find talent. You can never discount how you found it. You found talent, make it work. And the Rams have, if you've noticed, this is another reason why, the whole F them picks, how they've been able to make F them picks work. They've taken advantage of other teams, shortcomings and mishaps. Teams that get rid of OBJ midseason, teams that, cut Baker Mayfield, teams that move on from certain guys or put certain guys in the practice squad when they shouldn't. The Rams have built their team around making moves and finding guys in unlikely positioning, right? You can trade for guys all you want. You can draft guys all you want. But what can you do? Do you take advantage of teams when they give up on players? They got Justin Hollins, who was a starter for them. They got him because the Broncos cut him, thinking that he would make it through the waivers and he'd be on their practice squad. No. Marquis Christian. Guys like that. So this is how they've been doing it, man. It's how the Rams operate. Let's not hate him. We got to see what he can do first. Yeah, I don't hate him. Let's see. Finally, a backup who does not suck, even though he's not a starter. We actually have a realistic chance to win when Stafford is not in there. It's true. Perkins won't. Wolford, unfortunately, isn't good enough. So Perkins is more I don't know if his deep ball is where the Rams would like it. And again, it was very telling that he didn't play on Sunday. When I look at Wolford, he just doesn't have a deep ball. And it's not like it's going to be figured out. It's not like it's going to develop. He doesn't have a deep ball. He does not have the arm. Baker has the arm. Baker needs to work on the accuracy. Maybe that's something Sean McVay can get out of him. Who knows? For all the people getting mad about Baker, what's the worst thing that could happen? There's almost zero downside to this move. There literally is zero downside to this move. The only downside to this move is maybe this stunts Perkins' growth. Maybe this is what stops Perkins from getting opportunities. But if they weren't giving Perkins opportunities to begin with, then how does this have any issue in doing that? Wolford's already doing that. And then there were people saying, well, Case Cookus, right? Guys, Case Cookus is older than Wolford and Perkins. He's not just this young dude. Like, I was all for signing him, but he's not, like, super young. I feel like there are some people that think he's, like, 23 years old. He's the second oldest on the team, and he was the oldest quarterback on the team until Baker. So, I mean, Cookus is older than Wolford and Perkins. Wolford by, like, 10 I think it's 10 days. Perkins by a year, but still. Come on now. Yeah, right. This move pretty much signifies John Wolford is history. We appreciate your effort, but it was not good enough to win against NFL player. Baker's talented, just got to get him rolling. Great backup for next year, possibly. That's what I'm thinking. I feel good about it. Yeah, I'm thinking good backup. He could start someday. I mean, that's kind of along the lines that I'm saying. I mean, I don't know. It's funny this year. If the Browns have Baker this year, they probably would be in just as good of a spot. I think Brissett played well, so it's not a knock on him. I saw something on, let's see. He's not going to play on Thursday. He has a flight to LA now, so he's going to get to work, but he's not going to play on Thursday. And he wouldn't play on Thursday regardless. He's got some time to learn the playbook. They're not going to rush him. If he gets fired and Raheem Morris gets hired, then yeah, I could see it. Let's see. I saw something. Okay, I see it. So here's the thing about Jacob Harris. If he's not getting on the field now, and Lance McCutcheon is, and Brandon Powell is, and even now Tutu Atwell is, Jacob Harris isn't going to see the field. Like, I'm at the point in my Dynasty Fantasy League, I had Jacob Harris on my practice squad since he was drafted. I have just waived Jacob Harris because I don't think he's got a shot on this team. I just don't. If he did, they would be using him. They're clearly not that interested in him. I'm not against him by any stretch, but I don't see it with Jacob Harris. Just because they just don't use him. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it'd be awesome, but he's not going to play Thursday. Yeah, I forgot to mention Geno Smith. Look at where he came from. Former first-round pick. I think he was actually a second-round pick. Has turned his career around. How's it going? Oh, I've been good. Been well. I think that's the way I should say. But I've been well, just grinding through what has been a tough year, to say the least. I like the pickup because he can be a backup option for next year. Also give the Rams security if Stafford retires out of nowhere. Also, by the way, Geno Smith turned his career around, just saying Rams. Yeah, exactly. I totally forgot about Geno. I was like, that was the one that was right there. That was the layup I just kept missing. Thank you. I appreciate the video. I don't really agree with that. And I've been very critical of Baker because I was critical about Baker on the sense of him being a franchise quarterback. I think he's lost that. He can regain it, but I thought he was going to be very good and I liked him. And then I just felt like between the commercials and just not throwing to one side of the field, I started to sour on him. And that's about as simple as I can make that. I do too. Potentially, I'm not super, confident in that. Yes, smash the like button, also known as the thumbs up button. 116 likes. You have 533 people in here. Really? Crazy. If I wasn't going on the radio, I could expand this and make it a really long show, but I have kind of a hard stop right before 5:30. He does not start on Thursday, doesn't know the playbook, and I doubt he'll even be active. Like, this is going to take they have a mini bye, so by playing Thursday, they have a lot longer to actually get him ready. So I think that's what they're going to be working on, to try to get him ready and get him down and know the playbook and everything. Exactly. Worst case is that you bought a compensatory pick. That's the worst case scenario for $1 million, which, whatever. It's pocket change in the NFL. The mid case scenario you're saying is a more competent backup than Wolford or Perkins. And the best case scenario, you're saying his career gets revived by McVay. Was hired. Did I lose? Hopefully my stream doesn't end. Looks like I'm connected. Okay. It said that it was about to drop my stream. I'm like, bruh, I got 500 plus people in here. You can't just drop the stream on me. So thoughts on Rashad Samples to ASU signing. So he's going to be a passing game coordinator, wide receivers coach. Rashad Samples currently is the running back coach for the Rams. He's the youngest coach in the league at 27 years old. Was formerly with SMU and TCU. So I mean, this sucks, but at the same time, maybe they were going to let him go and he's taking this opportunity. Maybe Sean McVay wants to bring him back and says, you know what, you go and you learn the passing game coordinator. You learn how to be a wide receivers coach, build more up, build up your portfolio. And, we'll make you potentially an offensive coordinator down the road. Who knows? But, I mean, this is not unheard of because Liam Cohen went to Kentucky and then came back to the Rams. Wouldn't be surprised if Rashad Samples did the same and came back to the Rams. Yes, right. Just said he has a shot to play this week, sending him the playbook to study on the flight to LA. He has a shot to play this week. Really? There's no way. If he does that, that's incredible dedication. I'm excited for him. It's hard to say he's had it rough because he was drafted number 1 overall. He was a star in college and he had a rookie season, put himself on the map, had the commercials and everything, became a star essentially. Not necessarily he was a superstar, but he became known. He was a household name. To see him kind of fall and everything, that's tough. So agree Jake needs to be the backup moving forward. Finally good. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. 3 is taken. Yes. 3 is taken by Cam Akers. 10 is Cooper Kupp. They won't allow 0. I already pitched that to OBJ, and he said that they're not even going to allow him to wear 0. So 17 has to be it. They'll cut Case Cookus, and he'll take on 17. I agree with that. And I hate to use regurgitated, a regurgitated thing that people always use, but the whole, he's a gamer. He really is. I mean, he's going to grind games out and, he's got some serious toughness too. And, he's mobile. So you worry about the offensive line, keeping him upright. Well, Baker, he has that escapability. That's a good thing. What's up, LA Rams? If they caught Wolford, then yeah, he'll wear 13. That would be weird. 4 is Jordan Fuller, though. Maybe they do something like they did with OBJ. OBJ wore 3 when Cam Akers was going to wear 3, but he was out for the year. So maybe he's able to wear 4, or he's able to wear... Maybe Darion Kendrick switches numbers. I don't think anybody's buying Darion Kendrick jerseys, so it's not like they would lose a lot of money. It's not like Nike would lose a lot of money, so maybe he swaps jerseys with... Darion Kendrick. Kendrick takes 17 and, Baker gets 6. I don't know. It does keep him away from the Niners. Lee says this is big. I don't know how big it is, but I definitely like it. I like it a lot. I might go live later, but I got a lot to do because I got, like I said, I'm going on the radio. I have a hard stop. I'm going out 5:30, so I have a hard stop probably around 5:20. Let's see. Or Kendrick could change his number, better yet, to an actual cornerback number. That would be nice. Let's see. That's true. Yeah, the OBJ one was gnarly. I mean, this has a lot of people watching too. Guys, be sure to hit the thumbs up. Also, if you guys haven't already, be sure to follow me on Instagram at JKBogan. I'm really trying to grow the Instagram. We'll start like posting like reels and stuff. So be sure to follow me on there. You know, that would be helpful. Also, I'm on Twitter at JKBogan. Same thing. I think it might. We'll have to see, but that's a loaded thing there. You know, with everything going on. Yeah. I think the Rams will go after him. I don't know if necessarily he'll go back to the Rams. That's a pretty big quote by Jeff Darlington. I'll never forget a few months ago standing with McVay as he passionately told Baker if he didn't have his ride or die in Goff, he would have done whatever it took to get him. Now he's got him. No, I think Goff's more accurate. I think he has more mobility than Goff. I think Goff's more accurate. I think Goff has a better arm. But they're both number one overall quarterbacks. So I would be shocked. That's true. They can always get Colin back. That's pretty big. That might be a little tough. I'm all for the Baker Mayfield redemption arc. All for it. Let's see. They could. AZZA, welcome. Hey, the Rams picking him up stopped the 49ers from getting win-win. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Rams House, appreciate you donating, Tasman. James, thank you so much for donating. Hey, Jake, long-term fan, couldn't agree more with you. As a Ram fan living in South Carolina, I knew we'd go get him. Zero risk, but much better depth. Also nice to a positive Rams move. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see that. It's nice to see them going out there. And I know he's a big name, but I don't feel like they got him just for the big name. I think they see something in him. They believe in his talent, and I think they have a chance. I mean, if anybody's going to turn around this Rams team, it's Sean McVay. If anybody's going to turn around Baker Mayfield's career, it's Sean McVay. Let's see. Matthew, thank you so much for donating again. Wondering how many Rams fans pull for Goff if Lions make playoffs. Think I would. Yeah, I mean, I found myself pulling for Goff and the Lions on Thanksgiving, so I could see it. No, I am not. I just, I want to make sure. I want to make sure Stafford's okay. I think he should retire if he feels like he has to retire. He doesn't owe anybody anything. But I don't think he wants to go out like this. I do not think he wants to go out like this. That it's really just that simple. Yeah. I don't know how for the life of me that Ben McAdoo got an offensive coordinator job. Okay. Ben McAdoo deserves an offensive coordinator job as much as Jeff Fisher deserves a head coaching job. And honestly, I would even disagree with that claim because I think Jeff Fisher was a better head coach than Ben McAdoo as a play caller. I mean, Jeff Fisher was average. Ben McAdoo was below average as a play caller. Would literally have OBJ, who was one of the best. When you got him in space, he was one of the best weapons in space. And he'd throw 2-yard flat routes or 2-yard out routes where OBJ would go out of bounds. I mean, I don't know why they hired him. But when they did that, I was like, bro, what are they doing? So, I don't know. I think everyone gets on Baker Mayfield but holy hell, Ben McAdoo is the worst offensive coordinator in football. Like, and mind you, when I say this, Ben McAdoo is the worst offensive coordinator in football because he's trying to actually be an offensive coordinator, okay? He's not Matt Patricia, who is a defensive coordinator, knows the defense, and was basically put as the offensive coordinator. It's not an offensive coordinator. We know that. We know Matt Patricia is an offensive coordinator, so of course he's not doing well. Imagine being Ben McAdoo, where your entire career was based on the offensive side of the ball, and your one redeeming quality is that you were the quarterback's coach for the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers. Are you going to take credit for Aaron Rodgers there? Really? So, yeah, I blame Ben McAdoo more than I blame... I mean, Baker Mayfield, his bad seasons weren't like bad. They were okay, but they weren't bad. This was bad. This was not a good season for Baker. I think I'll put more into that than anything. Pretty crazy, right? You never know how the season's going to turn out. Yeah. Stafford. I think Stafford, when healthy, is the top 3 quarterback in the league. But I mean, like I said, we'll see how it works out. I'm hoping it works out and they sign Baker after this trial run. They sign him to a contract and he's the backup next year. That's what I'm hoping for. If next year the Rams go into next year with Stafford, Baker Mayfield, and Bryce Perkins, the Rams did it right. I think it's that simple. If the Rams go into next year with their quarterback room looking like Stafford, assuming Baker plays well, of course, but Stafford, Baker Mayfield, and Bryce Perkins, that's a good quarterback room. You're good. Perkins is your third quarterback. Baker Mayfield's your backup. You're good. I think that makes sense. Now, if Stafford retires, which I don't think is going to happen next year, because like I said, you think Stafford is going to be okay with his last ever game being against the Saints where he's balling out, then he gets hurt and they lose? They end up with 3 wins on the year, 4 wins on the year. You think he's just going to walk away? I don't. I think he'll be back. So, if they won a Super Bowl this year, probably retires. If they win a Super Bowl next year, probably retires. I mean, those are my thoughts. But, man, guys, be sure to get the thumbs up going, or like button or whatever. We're at 163. We got 450 people in here, and let's also see if almost at 1,100 on Instagram. So again, it's at JK Bogan. Be sure to follow me on there if you have Instagram. Again, I'm just trying to grow on there, Figure I'll mention it. Baker has had Hugh Jackson, Freddie Kitchens, Stefanski, and Rule in 4 to 5 years. Let's see what McVay can do with him. People stop acting like Baker is a talentless chud. Yeah, right. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? It's the coaches don't always get the blame. A lot of the time, it's the players. But it's like, what can you do if your coach doesn't call good plays? What can you do if the GM isn't putting talent around you? They put talent around Baker, but maybe the coaching staff wasn't great. I will say, though, Baker did struggle. So that's a real thing. But sometimes you just need a change of scenery. Sometimes you just need new coworkers. And again, if anybody is going to fix Baker Mayfield, if anybody's going to untap that potential, it's going to be Sean McVay. Just like if anybody is going to turn this 3-14, 4-13, 5-12 Rams team around, it's going to be Sean McVay next year. I believe that. Oh yeah, Goff's better than Baker. I've never doubted that. I've never sat there and thought Baker was better than Goff. But Baker doesn't have to be better than Goff. That's the thing. Both were first overall picks. I mean, Carson Wentz I would take over Baker Mayfield. But right now, you just got Baker Mayfield for free for the next 4 or 5 games. You get him on a trial run. If you get things going and he works out, you sign him. You sign him, he's your backup. Now, you have Stafford and you have some insurance. Makes a lot of sense. People aren't going to like it because, I mean, let's be honest. People just like to complain. Am I right? Am I wrong? I mean, come on. Like, I mean, think about it. They're 3-9. If you're sitting there putting any more energy into hating on this, I mean, they're 3-9, man. They're not making the playoffs. This team is absolutely imploded. I mean, not really. They're still fighting hard, but the point is, they're not going anywhere this year. So I think going a little crazy and making this like I saw, Twitter's funny because you get people on Twitter on one side are rational, right? They see the Baker signing. They're like, I don't like him, but I see it. I understand it. Then you get the people who don't like him, and it's like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. My day is ruined. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like, bro, I'm sorry, but if your day is ruined because a former first overall pick is going to his third team, and that third team happens to be your favorite team for the next 5 games at the very least, and you're paying $1.3 million, I don't know what to say. Like, you need a hobby. You need a hug. I don't know. If you are this pissed at Baker Mayfield becoming a Ram, I don't know. Mind you, Baker Mayfield's not like a bad dude either. Like, they're like, it's not like a Deshaun Watson situation, okay? If you're like actually like Baker Mayfield signing or getting claimed by the Rams like ruined your day, I don't know. I don't know. I think that's silly. Yeah, I mean, Twitter and rational, it's not normally in the same sentence, but there are rational people on Twitter. And, I feel like with a topic, you have 4 crowds. Just like I think with politics, too. You have 4 crowds. You have the people that are on the far version on each side, whether it's the black version or the white version. So you have the black and white, the far apart, the radical thinking, and then you have the kind of the more rational thinking, and then you have the middle. So I guess really it's 5 parts. You have the middle, you have the 2 on this side, and then you have the 2 on the far side. And Twitter, when you find people that are here, they're more, the rational people. The people out here, regardless of, I'm not talking politics now, I'm talking about just any topic in general. If you're over here, like you're in the radical section where you're like Baker Mayfield signing with the Rams literally ruins your day, then you're on that radical section. If you're in like right around here, then you're like, all right, I don't really like the Baker Mayfield pickup. I'm not a fan of him, but I get it, right? And then if you're in the middle, you don't have a firm grasp on either side. You kind of look at both sides and you see good things and you kind of take a little bit from each. So, there's 5 different ways, with all that, but just kind of, it is funny to me how like people get so like pissed off about these, like Baker Mayfield is not going to, and this is the thing, like this is what I call the press clippings people, the people that said when the Rams got OBJ that, oh, well, OBJ is going to hurt the Rams. He's a cancer in the locker room. Literally nothing to support that. And then you have the people that are like, oh, Baker Mayfield's got a bad attitude. He's going to ruin the Rams. Look, I'm an optimist. I'm also a realist this year, definitely. And I do believe the Rams are going to turn around next year, and they're going to be in contention to win the NFC. Call me crazy, but that's what I believe. But right now, sitting at 3-9, you cannot actually tell me rationally that you think that signing Baker Mayfield is going to destroy the locker room, is going to ruin this team. This team is ruined for the year. They're not making the playoffs. It's about next year. And also evaluating these guys. I don't know. I think it's silly. But be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll have plenty more coverage. I'm going to have a live stream every single night this week, like I said. So hopefully we can keep that up. I'd like to do it every single day if I could. Just every single day. That'd be awesome. But anyway, I'm going to have a live stream every single day this week. We've committed to it. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like. Be sure to leave some comments. Let YouTube know that, hey, this is where it's at. Okay, this was a good video. I enjoyed it. The only way to do that, you have to hit the thumbs up button or the like button, whatever you call it. Be sure to subscribe. You know, I'm constantly putting out content like this. And again, Instagram at JKBogan. We're at 1,094 followers. So if you want to help me get to 1,100 and beyond, be sure to do that. But that's going to do it for me. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll be going on the radio to talk about the Rams and Raiders at 5:30. So that's why I'm going offline. But I might be back later tonight. We'll see. You guys take care, and I'll see you guys real soon. Later, folks.